What I thought I'd do first of all is to take you back a few years as to how we are in this room today. So in 2003, David McLean, the house builder and contractor from North Wales, won the development rights for Mass House, which became Mass House Developments. And David McLean and John Kendrick, his group FD, phoned me up and said, "We'd like a partner, will you come on board?" And of course we were delighted. So we signed an agreement in early 2003 and then realised that actually to make this scheme really work, we needed some substantial funding, and the RBS Property Ventures came on board as an equity player. So we ended up with a tri-party arrangement with 3 companies, and I have to say it worked swimmingly well for the first few years. We built the first block called H&I. You can imagine that's named by an accountant, not really creative, but we sold 173 apartments within about 6 months. It was a really good success. And then we started on the latest building, Hive, and we got halfway through and our friends David McLean sadly capitulated and went to the wall. It was a very difficult moment. At that time, the RBS were also going through their difficulties. So we ended up with a £11 million debt, a half-built building. We had control of 25% of the company, RBS had 50%, and the other 25% was in receivership. So it was a slightly touchy moment, particularly when the RBS said, actually we're not going to lend you any more money. And I said, well, you're our partners. I mean, surely no, we're not lending you any money. So what do you do in those circumstances? Well, we rolled up our sleeves in true fashion, and we cracked on with it, and we got a new contractor on board. It took us about 18 months to finish Hive, and that's been a great success, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in due course. And we invested in total about £50 million, including the acquisition of the site. And the last building was completed, as it says there, in May 2011. What's important to reiterate is the site is now under our control. We bought out the RBS about 18 months ago, so now we are debt-free and ready to get on with the next phase, which I want to tell you about today. Let's start with Nikal and who we are. We're a small company. We're based in Manchester, the third city in the UK, on the back end of HS2. Let's be careful, guys, because they try and steal it if they could. So we need to make sure that we get that first link. We're backed by a family trust worth about 200 million. So we have means to equity. We have 5 major projects, of which Exchange Square is one of those, and we work in partnership with some of the biggest worldwide funds like the Carlyle Group. But we also just started an activity in the States as well, which is quite interesting. We're building a school and a medical park. So having been on the goal line for the last 4 years, heading the ball off, I feel as I'm gradually getting to midfield and becoming a bit of a striker. So that's encouraging. So let me quickly tell you about Hive, which is the last building we built. 167 apartments plus some retail. We control 60% of the market according to Knight Frank, and we've achieved sales of about £300 a square foot. It was an award-winning scheme. We won 3 awards: high rise, best high rise in West Midlands, best high rise in the UK, and best residential in the West Midlands as well. So it's been a huge success. Why has it been a success? There is the quality of the building, but the location, without doubt, is a real driving factor. People can see all the benefits of HS2, they can see what's happening to Eastside, and the park is a fantastic addition. They can see what level of money is being spent by Aston and BCU, and we've had a tremendous amount of interest. I have to say about 60% of the building has been bought by Chinese. Anyhow, let's go on to something a little bit more tasty, and at the forefront of my mind is Birmingham Magistrates Court. When we sold the land, and we got, I'm sorry to say this, taxpayers, but we got £18 million per acre for that site. That's probably the highest land value paid in Birmingham. All down to Griff's fault, by the way, so don't blame me for somebody overpaying for a site. But as part of that acquisition, they were obligated to start building by December 2010. So we were all there with our arms crossed on the 1st of January 2011, no building. Obviously hugely disappointed. It's a £63 million build with CISC. They're given a letter of intent, they spent £20 million on the land and fees. We thought this was going to happen, and it hasn't. So we've been working with them over the last few years to try and persuade them to come and build the building. We're confident that they will build it, but it's taking some time. I think we'd probably sue them if there was a court to sue them in. But we're struggling. I want to also talk about BDEC. We're the first private developer to invest in Birmingham District Energy Company, which is obviously a low carbon way of heating the building. So 167 apartments in Hive are heated by BDEC. We spent £1 million on the connection. The connection is in for the Magistrates Court, and there's a connection in the road ready to go into Exchange Square. And it becomes a very compelling part of our argument about deliverability and about sustainability that we've got BDEC, and we've committed to that expenditure. So, the future. Wow, a Glenn Howell's masterpiece. I think it brings a new meaning to the word howler. Hopefully a positive one, Glenn. Okay, so let me take you to Exchange Square, and why Exchange Square, and why we named it that. There's some fundamentally important areas of this site that make it such a compelling argument. I want to try and take you through those. Exchange Square is at the centre point, in the connection point for four important districts of the city centre. There's obviously the business community at Colmore Row. We've got the knowledge capital with the three colleges stroke universities. We've obviously got HS2 and the digital in Digbeth, and we have the retail just down the road. So we think we're in a great location to attract some major occupiers. I mean, what better scenario than having those clusters around you? And it really does make some very compelling reading. We've just gained planning consent for our scheme, and these are the approximate numbers. We're not very European, are we? But I think we all understand square footage. So we've got 550,000 square feet of maximum office space, net internal, in two buildings. We've got 150,000 square feet of hotel and or residential, 50,000 square feet of retail, and about 500 car park spaces. So the approval came through in December, and it makes us ready to go, subject to obviously the finer detail. Our aim is to deliver a building within the next 2 years to Cat A of around about 250,000 square feet. We can commit to a building of 100,000 square feet almost immediately, subject to an element of pre-let. And no doubt there'll be questions about spec building, which we're going to talk about later. Obviously we own the site. We've spent £1 million on BDEC. We've spent a further £1 million with Scottish and Southern for the power infrastructure, which is secured until 2020. Obviously we've got great flexibility, the ability to deliver our scheme in phases, which is probably likely to be the hotel first. It's just the conversation we're having at the moment. So our ability to deliver this site is paramount, and we think we can be on site by the end of the year, certainly with the hotel, and we'd like to think that we can then move forward with the offices. What about cost effect? I asked for a funny photograph here, and I couldn't really get it, and I thought, well, maybe it's funny in Birmingham, but it's not really funny in Manchester. And then James pointed out that actually it's a mini Aston Martin, so hence the cost effective. You get an Aston Martin for half the price. What we're trying to aim to deliver in Exchange Square is a 20% reduction in total occupation costs, so rent, service charge and rates. How we're doing that, obviously we're making the buildings incredibly efficient. We can phase the scheme. There's not a lot of infrastructure, we've already paid for that. We can do floor plates of up to 25,000 square feet, which we think is a really compelling argument. We can look at maximising occupational levels. We're aiming for BREEAM Excellent with a scope to go to outstanding. Again, that's subject to the conversation we have with you guys and prospective tenants. So all in all, and particularly with BDEC, where we're saving 92% on CO2 emissions, I think we can deliver a building that is very cost effective, set against the Colmore Row market. Thank you.